Hello everybody, my name is Diplomat and welcome to a new series of a Minecraft modded survival. We're not really doing anything hardcore and we're not going to have like super crazy mods in this video, but I'm hoping to at least do something pretty neat. I just wanted to make an enjoyable little mod pack and play it through with one of my friends, so we'll be seeing how that goes. Now, there is a couple things. We do have some mobs that are a little dangerous, a little mischievous little creatures. You're gonna see definitely through this video. It is not an easy time for us at least, because you know we're epic gamers that fail at every corner we turn. But no, in all seriousness, this has been a pretty fun mod pack so far. There's been a couple things here and there where we've had some issues, but we've been resolving them slowly. We made the mod pack custom inside of Curseforge, so we've kind of made a few errors in a couple places, but I'm currently working on the optimization and the kinks of it all. But I think we're pretty close to done here. Yeah, you can see now we even got these like stupid crafting wands that we made, and I don't end up using them through majority of the game. Like I started using them at the start and then I ended up tossing them away because these things I'm not used to using them. I just like the normal crafting bench, so I kind of gave up on that a little midway through. But without further ado, I hope you guys do enjoy. And so the story begins just as every other Minecraft story does. I was collecting wood, and then from that we'd collect more wood, and then we would have to build our house. Now, I wanted to build my house somewhere more remote, somewhere away from this swamp, also because it was the spawn of the server. I'm not going to be right there. But, yeah, no, I wanted to be somewhere more fancy, and then it hit me a little bit. And I remembered back in the day when I was really young playing Minecraft, and there was always one biome I always tried to build in. And it was the forest biome, the very classic green forest. So that's what I ultimately settled on. I was wandering all around. My friend Dre, he was wanting to find somewhere fancy, and I decided not to be too complicated with it. I just slapped my base in the first spot I found. I was just like, yep, this looks good. I see a hill, like a small little hill. I can build a mine shaft in it. This is home. This is home now. Unfortunately, peace would not reign forever. There was infighting, especially since he was committing large amounts of property damage. You see, I am like the Lorax. Instead of speaking for the trees, though, I am just cutting them down to spread the Industrial Revolution complex to Minecraft. And my friend here was cutting down my trees. Cutting down my trees means a loss of my company's profits. So, we had to put them down. It was the only way. As the dust settles, I proceeded to have to repair my floors due to him committing minor acts of vandalism in defiance to our victory over him. This was no problem for the company, though, as we just repaired it instantly. I then started to go ahead and dig out a hole. I wanted to go ahead and get a mine shaft going. I saw a hill, and I thought it would be perfect for the company to be able to extract resources out of. I don't know why I'm calling it the company, but I figured since I'm going for the whole maximizing profits vibe, that's just what it is now. We are now the company. That's just how it is. You can hate it, you can love it, but that's just what it is. I finally decided to head out of the mine, but not for very long. We will be going back in there, don't you worry. I also decided to turn off the mini-map on the top right, as it was starting to get annoying having that always in the top right of my screen. So that's going to be off for pretty much the rest of the video now. Now, I knew I was going to need some string, or at least some wool, so I started looking around for these string trees and any flax seeds that might be out in the wild. It took me a little bit, but I eventually ended up finding some flax, and don't you worry, I'll be taking care of those sugarcane later on, but they were not the priority right now. I was also gathering some of these Pam's HarvestCraft gardens. I'm trying to get as many as I can, because, you know, since it's on hard mode, we kind of need a good food source in order to maintain our hunger in the game. I eventually found the flax, and I also got a little bit of extra string off the trees. And it was just in time, too, because it was starting to turn nighttime, and I finally now have a bed. So that meant we could skip the nights and be able to stay away from those very dangerous mobs that would appear later on. But as you'll soon see, it didn't matter. They would still show up eventually. The next day was fairly uneventful, though I started digging out a hole around my house. I wanted to have some sort of foundation, a border, so that way it added a bit more detail to the house. I also got it some upgraded stone tools while I was at it, thanks to all the stone I had acquired from our mines we were making. I then ran out of stone while I was building, so I went right back to the mines that we were working on. And this is pretty much what I was doing for quite a little while before I went back to working on the house. After all that mining was said and done, I then proceeded to look into methods of acquiring items passively, such as other things outside of just farms and things like that. I wanted to acquire other resources, maybe like sand and other things, which there was one item that would allow me to do it, and that's the strainer, but unfortunately I didn't have any iron as of yet, so that was going to be something for later, especially after I saw that you need a hopper for it. I was quite disappointed in that. I decided to head home and continue working on the house, although I misplaced one of the doors, so I ended up promptly knocking that down. I decided to continue working on the foundation and completing it, which it didn't take very long. This is also when I decided to start making some more equipment for the house. I made some chests, got some furnaces, and all that good stuff. I then proceeded to help the environment by burning wood and creating coal, which I could then utilize later on for my future endeavors, mainly for burning more things. I then proceeded to cut down every endangered tree in the environment around me. After taking a small break from major deforestation, I decided to go ahead and place down a few more apple trees so that I have a steady food source growing. After committing deforestation and growing some apple trees, I came back to check on my furnaces, only to find that they are not stacking the charcoal in the furnaces. This was troubling to me for a bit, but I eventually looked into it. Turns out it was a mod called Fast Furnace. It was messing up the smelting. No idea why, but that's just what it was. So we ended up shutting the server down so we could remove that mod from the Modpack. And the issue kind of fixed itself. After seeing that the furnaces work, I went back to chopping down the trees again, getting more charcoal. And so I got back to the house, deposited all the goods from the trees I chopped down, and then it was time to go back to mining. After we were done mining, I went ahead and head back to the house to go ahead and stock back up my items. Due to the mines getting darker, I went ahead and made some torches with the charcoal I was smelting. And also, I went ahead and deposited all the stone we had gathered from the previous adventure into the mines. I'm going to be expanding the mines primarily now, and we're going to be doing that for quite a while. Realizing that the hole is going to be getting deeper, I'm going to need to make some ladders, so that way getting up and down through the mines is going to be a lot easier for me. Besides the ladders, I decided to make not only a bunch extra, but a ton of other stuff while I had a lot of wood in excess. After getting back from cutting down some trees, I decided to go ahead and build more of the house by placing some fences, and I was also going to be building a farm. I needed to grow some flax so I could get a more consistent source of string, especially for if I'm going to be making those strainers later, which they'll be very helpful later on. It was around this time that I actually read the book, or rather flipped through it a little bit for actually additions and saw how confusing the mod is, so I promptly put that book away for now. But I imagine we're probably going to get back to that pretty soon too. And so, after trapping a pig in my fence and finding some flax, I decided to head back into the mines and continue expanding it. This is pretty much where I spend most of this day. After clearing out a lot of stone and dirt, I decided to start placing wooden planks inside of the mines so I can get started on getting ladders built in. And also it'll make the mines look a little less, well, just stone and dirt. After I got out of the mines, I gave my friend some of the stone I'd been gathering, and I also began construction on my nice bricked house. This was going to be a really good start for it, but I was going to need a lot more stone if I was going to get it done. After everything's said and done, the mines was starting to come out pretty well. It was nice and carved out at this point, and yeah, I started making a little operation down there. Even got some chests set up, and I also got some furnaces ready. So, things were going good. As I got done smelting the stone at my house and taking care of my duties in the mines, my friend needed some help clearing out some monsters at his place. So I came over and did that very well. Besides the zombie, there was something else in his cave, and I had to take it out. So yeah, that didn't exactly work out for me, but we went back, we got our stuff, and that was that for now. I decided from there I would definitely always try to keep a sword on me. So after getting my items back and then committing minor acts of vengeance, I decided to go back to my mines, and only to find that there's an unwanted guest at the very bottom of it. I did not place enough torches, and I neglected to place torches at the bottom, so now I had something else to deal with. I didn't really notice at the time of fighting him that he actually gave me weakness, and took forever to kill with a sword. I realized that later when fighting these guys. And they will be around more, don't you worry. They seem to show up quite frequently. After enjoying a nice red snack, I went ahead and dealt with a monster that was outside of my friend's house, and then I returned home. If you guessed I was going back to the mines again, you'd be absolutely correct. I once again started quarrying out the mines, getting them nice and ready to find some iron, hopefully. After being done in the caves, I decided to head back to my house and continue construction on it, and I started using a mix of stone and stone bricks. I thought it made a pretty good texture, and yeah, that's basically what I did. Stone was not the only thing I managed to pull out of those mines. I also did find 4 meager pieces of iron, which will be a huge stepping stone in our progress to get the water strainers. It'll be very useful for passive resource income as well, so the company will definitely appreciate having that. After coming home from the mines and sleeping the day away, I managed to have to kill a climate change protester that was on company grounds. It was quite unfortunate, but he was pretty aggressive. Followed by his pet spider. I was then also promptly ambushed by one of his more extremist friends, who caused major amounts of property damage, which I had to swiftly repair. After repairing the property damage, I went back into my mines because I believe I was hearing squatters in my walls. So I started digging into the side of it like some sort of deranged schizophrenic, and looking around to find the little protesters that could be hiding within company walls. I had no tolerance policy for squatters specifically, so this was something we just couldn't let happen. Lest they managed to get squatters' rights, especially. Unfortunately, I found out that the squatters were skeletons who had been there for thousands of years, so they already had squatters' rights. But, luckily I had a sword, so I promptly removed them from their squat space, and, took over their little encampment in my walls. After killing the squatters, I proceeded to loot their encampment and see what was inside. They had all sorts of ores and all sorts of goodies. I mean, this was going to be great progress for the company, so I had no qualms with grave robbing them. So, yeah, good stuff. After lining my pockets with everything that was iron in that cave, I proceeded to make some strainers for the water pond that was close by. And, yeah, I was going to be able to make some passive resources from it. I decided to make some dense nets as well, so that way I could get any loose gold that might be coming through the water somehow. I guess now that I'm done with the strainer thing, it's time for you to meet my friend. His name is Etho. Do you like him? Well, anyway, Etho and I wanted to expand the furnaces, so we decided to start building a chimney. Something that, we could attach the furnaces to. So that way it seems a little bit more natural. I don't know. So that's what we did. After the chimney, I proceeded to cut down a couple trees. After destroying some trees, I decided to head home and then finish up the chimney by adding in the furnaces on the side. As I got done with the chimney, I realized that I was going to need leather if I wanted to make use out of all these queen bees that I had in my chests. Unfortunately, I had no cows, so the only way to get leather was going to be ground traps, which was actually better in some ways, because it basically was just free animal products without having to go and slaughter a bunch of animals or breed them over time. It was after I started stocking up these traps that I realized I was going to need a lot more string, so these flax farms are going to have to get a lot bigger soon. After restocking my traps with more bait, I decided to go ahead and head into the mines. I didn't really end up staying in the mines for very long before heading back to the house to continue collecting more of my resources being processed. I then decided to go ahead and start distributing coal amongst all my furnaces as evenly as I could. And then I started working on my farm. I ended up checking on my traps. After that, I took it as the perfect time to check my water strainers, which they've been working pretty hard. And so, after checking my ground traps and going ahead and checking my water strainers, I headed back home. I headed back home and I expanded the farms. After expanding the farms, I didn't do much. I was going to be sleeping that day. I got a lot done, and I was very tired by that point, so that's pretty much where I ended it off, but the adventure will continue more. This is just the beginning of it, but the company will be increasing. We've been making great strides today. Got the water strainers, we've got the farm, and we've even got ground traps to passively earn animal parts and resources to be used for other things later on. Things were going well for us for now, despite the minor setbacks we had with the monsters and squatters. This was it.